I'm Natalie Pasquarella, and this is News 4 Now for Thursday, December 20th. First up, your forecast. The wet weather has moved in. It is here to stay for a while. That rain will stick around tomorrow, too, when it will also warm up to the 60s. And the wet weather couldn't have come at a worse time for the millions of people heading out of town for Christmas. Storm Team 4 says the storm system will make an absolute mess of things over the next 24 hours. Most of the tri-state area will see the sloppy weather through tomorrow evening. By the time it moves out, most of us could get up to 3 inches of rain. That could mean flooding. It'll also mean big problems at the airports on one of the busiest travel days of the year. Let's turn now to other news. Notorious drug kingpin Joaquin El Chapo Guzman was reduced to tears when his twin daughters made a surprise visit today in a Brooklyn courtroom. El Chapo's wife, who'd been missing from the drug trafficking trial this week, made a return with the 2 7-year-old girls. Today, jurors listened to a recording of the cartel leader on a phone call negotiating a drug deal. That tape was introduced as evidence during testimony by a former Chicago-based drug trafficker. El Chapo faces a series of drug trafficking charges that carry a possible life sentence. Well, just days after Governor Cuomo announced his support for legalized recreational marijuana, Mayor de Blasio laid out his vision for pot sales here in New York City.
We have a chance to get it right here from the beginning.
The mayor says he is ready for legal marijuana use in New York. He wants small businesses to run the industry rather than big corporations. Safety was another focus. The mayor also said he wants to make sure the city's supply is clean and that it stays out of kids' hands. The NYPD wants you to take a good look at this guy. He was seen swinging a pipe at the 34th Street subway station yesterday. Police say he got into an argument with another man, and when a woman tried to intervene, police say he hit her with the pipe. She was taken to the hospital with a head injury. And finally, a man accused of scamming Long Island seniors out of tens of thousands of dollars is now under arrest. Police say Frederick Espinal was caught on camera conning $45 grand out of an 81-year-old Long Island woman earlier this month. Authorities say he called his victims, claiming that a loved one was in trouble and that they needed to send cash immediately.
Our wonderful police department got the dirtbag, and he will now be held accountable.
That's all for News 4 Now. Stick around, though, after this for an exclusive first look at the lessons learned after 6 inches of snow nearly paralyzed the city earlier this year. I'm Natalie Pasquarella. Thanks for checking in.
The radar reveals nothing but rain tonight and tomorrow. But if it showed the slightest bit of snow, Sanitation Commissioner Catherine Garcia says her teams would respond aggressively.
You might have noticed that we did salt last week and we did not have a tremendous amount of snow.
Precautions freshly learned after the November 15th snowstorm put the city on ice. Traffic frozen in place for hours.
Everything was on standstill.
School children stuck on buses without bathrooms, food, or water.
I was really scared. I was crying.
1 month later, the city's new battle plan calls for a more aggressive response for uncertain storms. A school bus task force with GPS on school buses and emergency snacks. And better interagency communication. For example, as parks identified downed trees and whether or not they were blocking off streets or roads, this information could have helped both the NYPD and DOT divert traffic from those areas.
We did make adjustments during that storm. It just took us more time than I think what the report suggests. We could do it faster.
You'll recall a multi-car pileup on the GW Bridge made everything worse. Today, the Port Authority, which runs the bridge, vowing changes too.
Every transportation agency has to plan and be prepared for a storm to be greater in intensity than it was predicted.
We need to make sure that we are being extra vigilant about messaging.
What does extra vigilant about messaging mean?
It means that we're going to tell people that you really shouldn't be driving.
The day after the storm, the mayor said no one would believe him if he tried to convince drivers to stay off the road in a low accumulation forecast. But this new report says the city must still try to make that case. In Lower Manhattan, Andrew Siff, News 4 New York.